Aloha, my name is Mailani Vini, and I am the CEO and founder of Kana Systems. Mentors is just a fancy way of finding someone who cares about you and cares about your success. I think one of the things that is really underrated for young people is for them to ask for others to help. The fact that you're young, you're still in school, and you talk to someone who is either out of school or is established in their career or whatever they're doing, approach that person and ask them, how did you get to where you're at? What were those steps that you took? And if it's something that's interesting to you, say, could you also help me along the way? What would I tell my kid self now is to not have to try so hard, right? Here's a great story. So I am a female person of color and in an area where there are very few women, as technology CEOs, and there are very few people of color. And I always felt a little bit like I was pretending, right, that I didn't quite belong. But I do belong because there's a lot of value that I add, and I add a lot of value because of who I am and where I came from. So me as a young person, I was really caught up in not being middle class and being, poor. And always feeling like that we were a little bit less than other families because of that. I would say don't worry about that, right? I mean, everybody has something in their life that they're either good at or really enjoy doing, and so focusing on that makes you so much happier. So for those young people, you don't have to know what you want to be. Persistence, that's one of my favorite things. So every one of you should have a brand. So say whatever your name is, and I ask you, what is your brand? You should be able to say that really quickly. So my name is Mailani, and my brand is Aloha Spirit and Grit. Grit is another word for persistence. Aloha Spirit is you help others to flourish, you do things that benefit others. And Grit means when you have a goal, you are persistent. You will keep going after that goal, even when things pop up, when there's challenges, etc. When my brother and I were going to high school in Hawaii, we didn't have very much money in our family, and we said we need to be able to help our family make money, but we were traveling back and forth on a Navy ferry to get to school. So we had a lot of our time was spent commuting, and then of course we had a lot of time in high school, and then we were both good students, so we were studying quite a bit, didn't leave a lot of time for making money. We said, well, we do have an opportunity because we have this opportunity for 45 minutes every day going and coming, so an hour and a half altogether on this Navy ferry. And this Navy ferry, they didn't offer any food or drink. So we just kept pushing forward. There was no business manual for this. We figured out, well, we have to go and we have to buy the food and the drink. A lot of it was snacks and junk food, frankly. Not super proud about that. But we had to go figure out, well, how are we going to do this? How much money are we going to charge for it? How are we going to keep the money? How are we going to make sure nobody steals the money from our backpacks because we're in high school all day long? So there are a number of things that we could have just stopped and said, this is too much. This is too much hard work. Well, first of all, why are we calling it failure? I mean, I think names matter. So if you right away you say, I learned from my failures, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. So I say, rename that. So when you were a kid, none of us learned how to walk right away without falling, right? So as babies are learning to walk, you don't hear people saying, they fall, what a failure. You're failing, you're failing. That is so damaging psychologically. All you hear is, you can do it. Stand up, get up. Oh, let's kiss your owie. Here's a Band-Aid. Let's keep trying. Yay, you're making it. So for me, it's less about learning from failure, but learning how to put that mentality forward that I can do things and I can try and I can be take risks. And know that if anybody's not going to applaud for me, I will applaud for myself for even trying. My best advice for a young innovator is to find others that have the same kind of drive? Where can you find other young innovators? Or where can you find other people that are in your circle of interest? Obviously, online, you can find those kinds of communities, but you have to reach out and ask. The other part is physically. You can physically, I know this is the COVID era, but you can actually ask people to talk with you via Zoom, or if it's not with Zoom, you can actually go to their offices or to coffee shops, go to maker spaces, places where people are making things, and get inspired by others, even if it's completely different.